Hello again, crime fighters. Welcome back to another edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted, the program where you get to help make Calhoun County a better and safer place by helping us lock up the bad guys. I'm Chris Wright, along with Calhoun County Sheriff Matthew Wade. Sheriff, good to see you.
Good to be back on the show, Chris. I tell you what, another good week. Starting to warm up this week too, so
yeah, it is.
When it warms up outside, crime seems to take a little nose towards the upper level anyway.
Getting up close to 90 degrees this week, so have all your men and women on guard.
On guard, there you go.
How about our viewers? How are they done this
past week? Hey, they've done good this week. Another 6 arrests, always good. They've never let us down. Brings our count up to 3,967 people put in jail, all because you were willing to be involved.
All right, so we thank you for your help, and coming up in a few minutes, we'll have some more faces and names that we hope you can help us locate. But first, let's talk about matching those faces and names with the ballot boxes.
Absolutely. There's a special election coming up this summer for U.S. Senator, and nobody wants to be caught behind the curve. You got to be registered to vote before you can just go in there and vote. So make sure you do that. And our Secretary of State, John Merrill, has a mobile unit, or the MOO that we called it earlier. So they're going to be at the Ohatchee Senior Center this Friday, May the 12th, from 10 to 2, giving out IDs. You got to have an ID to vote. So if you don't have a voter, you don't have an ID, you can go out and see them at the Ohatchee Senior Center this Friday, 10 to 2, and get a free ID. So
I'm sure you're going to need to bring some things to get that ID.
There's some things you need to bring with that. You can check out the Secretary of State's website, but one of the things is you can't already have an ID somewhere else, but you'll need to be a current registered voter. Bring a birth certificate, a marriage record, Medicare, Medicaid document, military record, a school transcript, Social Security card.
Not all of these.
Not all of these, just some of them.
Bring what you've got.
Bring what you got, but you can go and see what it needs to be at www.alabamavotes.gov. So alabamavotes.gov is where you can get all the information. But this Friday, May the 12th, at Ohatchee Senior Center, from 10 to 2, and I'm sure there's other places that's going to be going on throughout the state. So get registered, let your voice be heard.
It's never a good thing when a registered voter gets turned away from the polls because they don't have the proper identification.
And that's not the intent of our country. Our country is to let the people speak for who they have as their elected officials. Do what you have to do, go out and vote, let your voice be heard. As a person that has to be elected, I'm very conscious to those people who are my bosses, and I want to hear from them and speak and be heard. That's how our government forms.
All right. Well, we need to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
The Ford brand has always brought you impressive style and legendary quality, and Sonny King Ford brings you the lowest price and the largest inventory, new or pre-owned. The new 2015 F-150 gets the best gas mileage of any truck without giving up its powerful towing capacity. The iconic new 2015 Mustang, with its classic pony car looks and hunkered down stance, preserves a legacy that defines American motoring. For over 93 years, Sonny King Ford, for the best cars and best price.
Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound that saved
a crackhead,
drug addict, alcoholic,
meth freak,
a wretch
like me.
I once was
homeless,
broken, sad,
just lost.
But now I am sober,
happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
AOD Federal Credit Union. You already know their friendly staff and great loan products. So here's reason number 8 to choose AOD FCU, a new all-platinum Visa credit card. Call 1-800-637-0299 or visit AODFCU.com to start earning 1% cash back on purchases. Your good credit earns you a better rate. A new Platinum Visa card. Another reason you belong at AOD Federal Credit Union.
I have my own lawn care service. One day I had some blades that was bent. I was probably here for 5 minutes and they had me back on the road going.
It helps me make more money simply because it's a more dependable machine. And side-by-side comparisons, people want to say they're better, but I've driven them and Toro is the best.
Hey folks, come see us at Foothills Tractor. We're your one-stop shop for anything you need. Locally owned, locally operated, give you the best customer service guaranteed.
Hi, I'm Katina Houston Stroud with Family Links, and this is the Family Tip of the Week. With so many demands placed on parents these days, work, kids' practices, cooking, cleaning, me time, all of that, do you know your own needs and limitations as a parent? Do you model this for your children? Face it, you are an imperfect parent. There is no perfect parent. You have strengths and weaknesses as a family leader. Recognize your abilities and say to yourself, I am loving and dedicated, and plan to work on your weaknesses such as I need to be more consistent with discipline. Try to have realistic expectations for yourself, your spouse, and your kids. The best advice that was given to me once was keep your expectations in line with your reality. But what does that mean? If the reality is that you're not a very good cook, then don't expect that your meals will look or taste like they were prepared by top chef. This will allow you to be forgiving of yourself. Keep your expectations in line with your reality and try to make parenting a manageable job. Focus on the areas that need the most attention rather than trying to address everything all at once. Admit it when you're burned out. Take time out from parenting to do things that will make you happy as a person or as a couple. Remember, focusing on your needs does not make you selfish. It simply means you care about your own well-being, which is another important value to model for your children. For more parenting tips, please contact Family Links at 256-820-5911.
And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up on our lineup this week, Lisa Coffer. Miss Coffer, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted for theft of property 4th. And take a look at Daniel Grantham. Mr. Grantham, last known to be living in Alexandria. He's wanted for failure to pay on receiving stolen property 2nd. And this is Anthony Holloman. Mr. Holloman, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for probation violation on identity theft. And take a look at Charles Brisky. Mr. Brisky, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for probation violation on possession of a controlled substance. And we'd like you to meet Terrence Taylor. Mr. Taylor, last known to be living in Anniston, wanted for probation violation on discharging a firearm. And meet Byron Bailey. Mr. Bailey, last known to be living in Piedmont, he's wanted for a probation violation on burglary 3rd. And last up for our first half of the lineup, Rena Brand. Miss Brand, last known to be living in Gadsden, she's wanted for failure to appear on theft of property 4th. And that's it for the first half of the lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show.
We'll have more bad guys for you here in just a few minutes, but right now we want to talk about some folks who are coming out of the shadows. Sheriff, I know that mental health sometimes stays in the shadows, but that's not where it needs to be.
Absolutely not. It's an illness. People can't help it. This is just like having the flu. You can't help it. When you get the flu, you have it. I mean, you need to get treatment for work. You feel bad. People have mental illness. They can't help it. They can't turn it off. And but we act like it's shameful if you reach help. And you know, especially with people with careers, they're scared if they go out and do something that it'll ruin their career. Law enforcement, prime example of that. Can't help it. So it's an illness. We need to get that stigma off of them.
We're joined by Brenda Stedham, local attorney, and Fred Smith with the Community Foundation, and we appreciate both of you being here to talk about this event. And you two were instrumental in making this happen.
Well, we're two of a committee. We want to thank the sheriff for agreeing to sponsor the program. I want to thank the Community Foundation for the grant that made it possible for us to have the program. JSU gave us a grant as well, and Highland Health is one of our sponsors. The state NAMI is one of our sponsors, and I hope I'm not leaving somebody.
RMC.
RMC and JSU Counseling Center. So we're really fortunate to have some great folks behind us.
And you know, with that group of sponsors, not only do you get funding to help put it on, but you get some great resources to draw on as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is going to be an event that is really well put together, a lot of opportunities. And this is, if I understand correctly, for people at all ends of the spectrum. When we come to mental health, we're talking about the people who deal directly with those who have mental health issues, the people who are overseeing the overall programs, and the family members who just have somebody that is dealing with mental health issues, everybody along the spectrum.
Absolutely. We want everybody to come. We want consumers to come. We want professionals to come and get their CEUs. We want first responders. We want pastors who are also first responders. They are oftentimes, and Fred's a pastor, they're oftentimes on the front lines. We want veterans. We have a couple of talks for veterans. So we want everybody to come.
Fred, talk about the pastoral side of things. You do get to see a lot of people, I'm sure, that don't think they're dealing with a mental health issue, but you recognize that really they are, and there are other things that can help them besides just your care, which I'm not minimizing what a pastor can do, but there are other professionals out there that can help in other ways.
Right, and it needs to be a relationship between the faith community and the mental health professional community, because both are really on the same team, and that is to strengthen and support families. And so when you come across somebody that has some illness that goes beyond what we would consider to be something that can be done just with a conversation, they need special help, special treatment, special attention. You reach out to those that have been trained in that area to give them the help that they need. And so from a pastoral perspective, I see the need for it. Also working with the Community Foundation, where I have the privilege to be the director of the Stringfellow Health Fund, we definitely see this as a part of our mission with helping to support the community with being well.
And Sheriff, in a different aspect where some people will come to their pastors not knowing that they really need mental health help, but they're looking for some kind of help. Sometimes you're going when they don't know they need any kind of help at all, but you see that they do.
I see that they do. You know, a lot of times it's a twofold thing. Sometimes people take drugs, illegal drugs, because they have a mental illness and they're trying to self-medicate. Yep. And also we see people who try drugs for whatever reason, and that causes a mental illness inside of them. And what's bad is these people end up in my jail, and there's statistics that say 10 to 20% of all incarcerated people have a mental illness.
Right.
So if this is do 10%, that means I have 50 people. I have 500 people in my jail right now, so I'd have 50 people in the county jail who need help, that maybe if they had that help, we wouldn't be incarcerating them. They'd be productive citizens, and that's what we want. We don't want to take care of them. We don't want to spend tax dollars on them being incarcerated, being treated in that manner, when what they really need is help.
Right. That's exactly right.
It's very sad, and it's you know, I see people that work in law enforcement that need mental health, and they're scared to take that step to get it as well. This is something that's very dear to me because, like I said, it's an illness, and it's not going to get better unless it's treated. And people are scared to come forward because they're scared of a stigma, or they're scared it's going to hurt them financially, or there's just no help available to them, and they end up in jail. So it's just a sad thing. So I really, from the bottom of my heart, believe in this.
Good.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
And we saw your involvement for years when you were on the bench as a judge. You were already very much involved in the mental health issues in Calhoun County.
Yes. You know, as a family court judge, I saw families being just blown apart as if there were a bomb that went off when one of the members had a serious mental health issue and wouldn't or couldn't get treatment. And it affected all of the family. There was a ripple effect. And the family suffered, and all of them needed help. And so this is an issue that's near and dear to my heart. I wanted to be involved in this program specifically because I had a friend who committed suicide a couple of years ago. And I felt, you know, there should have been something I could have done. I know in my brain I couldn't have. But this is my way of passing on the love that friend had for others, so that other people will get the education and the hand and the pat on the back and the treatment that they need so they can be successful.
All right, well, the event that's coming up is called Out of the Shadows,
Yes.
and we want to dig deeper into exactly what's going to be happening at this event. We need to take a break. When we come back, we'll have the second half of this week's lineup, and we'll find out all about Out of the Shadows and what you can expect there on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
AOD Federal Credit Union. You already know their friendly staff and great loan products. So here's reason number 8 to choose AOD FCU, a new all-platinum Visa credit card. Call 1-800-637-0299 or visit AODFCU.com to start earning 1% cash back on purchases. Your good credit earns you a better rate. A new Platinum Visa card. Another reason you belong at AOD Federal Credit Union.
Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound that saved
A crackhead.
Drug addict, alcoholic, meth freak,
A wretch.
like me.
I once was.
Homeless,
Broken. Sad.
just lost. But now I am sober.
Happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
The Ford brand has always brought you impressive style and legendary quality, and Sonny King Ford brings you the lowest price and the largest inventory, new or pre-owned. The new 2015 F-150 gets the best gas mileage of any truck without giving up its powerful towing capacity. The iconic new 2015 Mustang, with its classic pony car looks and hunkered down stance, preserves a legacy that defines American motoring. For over 93 years, Sonny King Ford, for the best cars and best price.
And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Gregory Sansing. Mr. Sansing, last known to be living in Scottsboro. He's wanted for failure to appear on use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And this is Jacoby White. Mr. White, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for probation revocation on criminal mischief, second times 2. And meet Daniel Adams. Mr. Adams, last known to be living in Oxford, he's wanted for failure to pay on criminal mischief, second. And this is Daniel Farrell. Mr. Farrell, last known to be living in East Daboga. He's wanted for failure to appear on illegal possession of prescription drugs and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And take a look at Daniel Gravett. Mr. Gravett, last known to be living in Wellington, he's wanted for failure to appear on child support, the face of a deadbeat dad. And last up in our lineup this week, Stephanie Chapman. Miss Chapman, last known to be living in Sylacauga, she's wanted for failure to appear on use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you know the whereabouts of these folks, please give us a call at Crime Stoppers. That number, 256-238-1414.
We'll have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show here in just a few minutes. We'll also talk about our crazy criminal of the week. But right now we're talking about Out of the Shadows, Sheriff, an event that's coming up here soon to help deal with the mental health issues in our area and help bring some of that out of the shadows.
You know, I'd venture to say that it'd be hard for anybody to say they don't have a family member or know someone that they can say they probably got something going on, they could need a little help, and probably...
If you don't know one, then it's probably you. Julie
yeah,
Nix is joining us now from Jacksonville State University. I don't want to joke too much about this, but we want to stay lighthearted about it because this is a subject that you need to be able to talk about with people and not feel too uncomfortable, right, Julie?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think not talking about it has got us into the situation that we're in our current, society and in our state and in our county. We need to talk about this more.
And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be careful and sensitive to other people's touch points, but at the same time, you initiate that discussion, and if you accidentally step on something, you can always say you're sorry and step back a little bit, but if the conversation never begins, then the wrong things are definitely going to happen.
Yes.
Right. I've had some conversations with people that work for me, and I've able to steer them in a path where they were able to get a little help. And and they're just really scared to even tell me or anybody else, but sometimes you need that help, and it's really sad that there's so many people out there that's not getting treated when they should be. And if we had that many people with cancer or something else that was not being treated, there would be an uproar, a cry about what are we going to do. And for mental illness, it's just, let's just put it under here and not say anything about it, and it's just really really a shame.
That's right.
Well, there is quite a prevalence. The Department of Health and Human Services says that 1 in 4 adults are affected by mental illness, and 1 in 5 children. So that's pretty outstanding numbers.
It is. Well, let's talk about the event itself that's coming up here. When is it? Where is it? And exactly what's going to be happening?
Okay. Well, our event's going to be held at JSU at the Houston Cole Library on Friday, May 19th. It's an all-day event, and starts around 8 o'clock. We'll have registration starting at about 7:45 and should wrap up the day about 4:15. And we're really excited about our guest speakers that we're hosting.
If somebody's coming as a professional, it's probably a good idea for them to plan to be there throughout the entire day, but maybe somebody that's just watching the show and thinking, there's some issues that I may be dealing with at work or at home or whatever, I'd like to learn something specific. Is there a calendar of events that can talk about the different times that it would be good for them to be there?
We would encourage them to come all day, but
Okay.
certainly, if they could attend for the morning or the afternoon, that we would welcome them,
And lunchtime is going to be taken care of. If you're coming as a professional to get the credit units, education units, it's $35. But if you're just coming as Joe Blow off the street, it's only $5, and that includes a lunch.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's exactly
Where else can you get lunch for $5 these days?
You can't.
That's exactly right.
From home, maybe.
And we've got the discounted rate for law enforcement professionals and first responders, so that's a great opportunity for them to get some continuing ed.
All right. So is there a website anywhere online that people can find out specifically about the event?
We have a Facebook page, and some of the information is there. We're putting it out as we go. We do have a number of great speakers. Dr. Chris Randolph, who's a local psychiatrist, is going to talk about medication. Dr. Joe Howell is going to talk about some psychological issues. We've got several folks from JSU, and I'll let Julie talk about that.
Yes, we have Dr. Tommy Turner. He's from the Counselor Education Program, and he's an interim dean now, but he's talking about suicide prevention. We also have Dr. Priscilla Wilson talking about some multicultural issues. We have Dee Barcliff doing some stress management, interactive workshop, and who else do we have from JSU? Kim Horton. She's going to do mental health first aid. She's certified to train, so she's providing an overview of that.
And we see a ton of we've seen a really rise in suicides. We're probably answering 2 or 3 calls a week where someone's killing themselves in our county.
Right.
And that's just a shame, and you would think, well, okay, that might happen once a month, but we're seeing it a couple of times a week on average, and that's just way too much. And
with 16-year-old kids and with grandparents.
Yes.
Right.
And
That's heartbreaking.
It's devastating to the family. There's no way they'll ever get over it. They need resources. We need to find a way to help these people before they get to that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. We have another speaker from the depot who's going to talk about family resilience and compassion fatigue, because families really get worn out caring for folks over time, and they need some support. So he's going to do that. So we have a great lineup of speakers. We have a couple of folks from the VA who are going to come and talk specifically about what is available for veterans, but other people may be interested in that as well.
So whether mental health is something that you deal with full-time in your profession, or something that occasionally comes up in your life, or just something that you want to know more about, this will be a great event for you. Real quickly before we wrap up again, it's going to be Friday, May the 19th, starting at what time in the morning?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock in the morning, going throughout the day with lunch provided. And how can they get in touch?
If you'll go to the JSU website, registration is online, and if you look for Out of the Shadows, you can register online.
And you can also call 256-782-5475. That's our JSU counseling office, and we can answer any questions about registration or any questions about the day.
Excellent. Ladies, thank you very much for being with us, and good luck.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, we will be right back with the Crime Stoppers segment of Calhoun County's Most Wanted and our Crazy Criminal of the Week.
AOD Federal Credit Union. You already know their friendly staff and great loan products. So here's reason number 8 to choose AOD FCU, a new all-platinum Visa credit card. Call 1-800-637-0299 or visit AODFCU.com to start earning 1% cash back on purchases. Your good credit earns you a better rate. A new Platinum Visa card. Another reason you belong at AOD Federal Credit Union.
The Ford brand has always brought you impressive style and legendary quality, and Sonny King Ford brings you the lowest price and the largest inventory, new or pre-owned. The new 2015 F-150 gets the best gas mileage of any truck without giving up its powerful towing capacity. The iconic new 2015 Mustang, with its classic pony car looks and hunkered down stance, preserves a legacy that defines American motoring. For over 93 years, Sonny King Ford, for the best cars and best price.
I have my own lawn care service. One day I had some blades that was bent. I was probably here for 5 minutes and they had me back on the road going.
It helps me make more money simply because it's a more dependable machine. And side-by-side comparisons, people want to say they're better, but I've driven them and Toro is the best.
Hey folks, come see us at Foothills Tractor. We're your one-stop shop for anything you need. Locally owned, locally operated, give you the best customer service guaranteed.
Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound that saved
A crackhead.
Drug addict. Alcoholic. Meth freak.
A wretch.
Like me.
I once was.
Homeless.
Broken. Sad.
Just lost. But now I am sober.
Happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask you to help our investigators with these cases. First up, between April 24th and April 25th, the concession stand at Cedar Springs Drive in Jacksonville was burglarized. No items were stolen. And on April 25th, Big B Grocery on Chocolaca Road was burglarized. A drink cooler and pallet jack were stolen from that location. And sometime between April 25th and April 26th, the barn was burglarized on Scott Lane in Piedmont. An air compressor, battery, and Kawasaki mule were all stolen from that location. And on April 26th, residence on Brookview Drive in Anniston was burglarized. They got away with a laptop, television, and jewelry. And last up on your caseload this week, on April 28th, this residence on Dry Hollow Road was burglarized. They got away with a pistol. And that's it for the Crime Stoppers portion. If you know anything about these cases, and we hope you do, please give Crime Stoppers a call at 256-238-1414. Remember, we want your information and not your name.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
All right, our crazy criminal this week, Sheriff, we've got an individual who drove up to the hotel in Atlantic City. He's ready for a fun weekend, I guess. Pulls up in front of the hotel, gets out of his car, tosses the keys to the valet, and heads on into the hotel.
Wasn't a valet, was it?
No, it wasn't.
You have a good time?
35-year-old Stephen Jacobs, more of an opportunist than a valet.
What kind of car was it? It kind of like reminds me of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you know? Was it a Ferrari, you know, they drove through?
I don't know what kind of car. We need to find that out.
Yeah.
If it was a minivan, I'm going to...
Just taking a minivan is not near as cool. It had to be something like a Porsche or something.
Yeah, he didn't just take it off for a little fun drive either. He took it.
Took it. Is he still driving it?
No, he was still in it when the police located him the next day, though, along with his firearm that he wasn't supposed to have.
Not good choices at all, but opportunistic. You know, he should have asked before he tossed somebody the keys. You know, how do you prosecute the guy? Whether he gave me the keys to it, is that permission? Here you go. All right. Thanks.
We are certainly not excusing Mr. Jacobs' response here, but the lesson here, I think, is mostly for those of us who aren't really paying attention to what's going on around us.
That's right. You know, if you're going to toss somebody the keys to your car, you might want to make sure who it is. So. I'm not sure who the crazy person is in this one. It might be both. I don't know.
A little bit of both there. All right. Well, that's all the time that we have for this week. If you missed part of the show, you can see it in its entirety at tv24.tv. Go to the on-demand section. You can also watch the lineup of Most Wanted and the Crime Stopper section on the Facebook page for the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office. We'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.